Hi everyone, thank you all for coming. My name is Mia. I've been an acting student here for a little over 2 years, and this is acting 3, so it's our older students who are in acting. This is the first show that I've directed alongside Mr. Nikolai, who's back there. So right now we've been studying a courtroom drama. So for this show, each student had to take a juror number in a jury, and they had to kind of turn it into their own person and their own character. And they've really developed with their characters and come really far with them, so really proud of them and what the show's become. We had a juror 11, but juror 11 couldn't make it, so we have a guest. For the playbills are digital, so they're on the website. If you search lapa.com/P, just the letter P, you'll be able to see the playbill and everyone's photos with their bios and everything. I think that's about all. Thank you, Mr. Nikolai and Mr. Ryan, and everyone else who made this showcase possible. So this is 12 Angry Jurors.
Lock the door.
Should have locked the door. What do you expect?
I don't know. It just never occurred to me.
6 days. You should have finished it in 2. Talk. Have you ever heard so much talk about nothing?
And how about all that business about the knife? Did you ever hear a phonier story?
Oh, you gotta expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, I suppose. Hey, what's the matter with you? Got a cold?
A Lulu. Hot water colds can kill you.
We'd like to get started now. The lady at the window.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's alright.
It's tough to figure, isn't it? A boy killed his father, big, just like that. Well, it's the element. They just let the kids run wild. Bet it serves them right.
Is everyone here?
The lady's outside.
Excuse me, everybody. Didn't mean to keep you waiting. It's alright. Have your seat.
Right. This better be quick. I've got tickets to the latest Fowler film, and I must be the only guy in the world who hasn't seen it. All right, Your Honor. Start the show.
Now, I would like to point out that number 11 is on vocal rest. Okay. Now we can handle this any way you'd like. I mean, I'm not going to make any rules. We either discuss it first and then vote, or vote now and see how we
Let's
stand.
vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Right. Let's vote. All right. Supposing the quickest way is a show of hands.
Okay.
All those in favor of guilty, raise your hands. 9, 10, 11. Not guilty? 1. Right. Okay. The vote is 11 to 1 in favor of guilty. Somebody's in left field. You think he's not guilty?
I don't know.
So what'd you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and set a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Who says it's easy for me?
No one.
What? Just because I voted fast? I think he's guilty. You couldn't change my mind if you talked for 1,000,000 years.
I don't want to change your mind. I just want to talk for a while. Look, this boy's been kicked around all of his life. Living in the slum, his mother died since he was 9. That's not a very good start. He's a tough, angry kid. You know why slum kids get that way. Because we knock them on the head all the time. I think we owe him a few words, that's all.
Well, I don't mind telling you this, miss. We don't owe him a thing. I mean, you got a fair trial, right? You know what those trials cost? He's lucky he even got one. Look, we're all adults here. You're not going to try and tell us we're supposed to believe him knowing what he is. You can't believe a word they say. You know that.
I didn't know that. What a terrible thing for someone to believe. You
have no monopoly on the truth.
Right, it's not Sunday, we don't need a sermon.
But she says it's very dangerous.
I don't see any need for arguing like this. I think we ought to behave properly.
Right.
If we're going to discuss this case, let's discuss the facts.
Thank you. We have a job to do. Let's do it.
I may have an idea here. I'm just thinking out loud now, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this lady that we're right and she's wrong. Maybe if we each took a minute or two to try to emphasize.
Sure. Go ahead and go once around the table. Number 2, guess you're first.
Oh, well, I just thought he was guilty. I mean, nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody proved otherwise. The burden of proof is in the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open its mouth. That's in the Constitution. The Fifth Amendment, you've heard of it.
Well, sure, I've heard of it. I know what it is. I mean, I just think he's guilty.
Okay, let's get to the facts. Number 1, let's take the old man who lived underneath where the murder took place.
10 minutes after 12, on a night of the killing, he thought he heard loud noises in the upstairs apartment. He said it sounded like a fight. Then he heard the boy clearly say to his father, "I'm going to kill you." A second later, he heard a body falling. He ran to the door and saw the kid run downstairs and out of the house. Then he called the police. They found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death around midnight.
Right. Now what else do you want?
The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies. That's pretty ridiculous, right? He couldn't even remember the pictures he saw.
That's right. Did you hear that? You're absolutely right.
Wait a minute. What about the woman who saw him across the street? I mean, if her testimony don't prove it, nothing does.
That's right, she saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order, please.
What about the woman who saw him?
Here's a woman who's lying in bed and can't sleep. It's hot, you know? Anyway, she looks out the window and sees the boy stab his father. She's known the boy all her life. Their window is right opposite of hers, across the yellow tracks, and she swore she saw him do it.
Through the windows of a passing elevator train.
Okay, but in court they prove that you can look through the windows of a passing L train, even at night, and still see what's going on the other side. They proved it.
Alright, I'd like to ask you something. How come you believe her? She's one of them, too, isn't she?
You're a pretty smart fellow, aren't you?
Now let's calm down, please.
Come on, just sit down. What are you letting her get you all upset for? Relax.
Fine.
All right. Number 6, your turn.
I'll pass it.
That's your privilege. Number 7.
Well, I don't know. I mean, most of it's already been said. We can talk about this all day, but I just think we're wasting our time. Look at the kid's record. At 15, he was put in reform school. He was arrested for mugging. They say he stole someone's car. He even stabbed someone in the arm. This is a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
You're right. It's the kids, the way they are, you know. I've got a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I was so ashamed. Had him right out. Haven't seen the kid in 3 years. Rotten kid, you worked your heart out. Let's get on with it.
We're missing the point here. This boy, let's say he's the product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't help that. We're not here to go into the reasons on why slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They are. I know it. And so do you. The kids that come out of slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of them. Believe me.
I've lived in a slum all my life.
Well, wait a minute. I didn't mean...
I used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells on me?
Let's get this straight. This is nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Come on. No. He didn't mean you, man. Let's not be so sensitive.
Stop this bickering. We're wasting time. Number 8.
Okay. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow I felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. I mean, he was appointed by the court to defend the boy. He hardly seemed interested. Too many questions were left unasked.
What about the ones that were asked? For instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife, you know? The one that fine and bright boy admitted to buy.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get in here and look at it. I'd like to see it again, Miss Foreman.
We all know what it looks like. I really don't see why we have to look at it again. What do you think?
The woman has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
Fine with me?
That knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence. Don't you agree?
I do.
The boy admits to going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father. You heard the prosecutor.
He went to a neighborhood store and bought a Swiss knife. The storekeeper was arrested the next day for admitting to selling this to the boy. It's a pretty unusual knife. The storekeeper says only one of this kind he had in stock. And why did the boy say he got it, he asked? Well, it was a present for a friend of his, he says. Am I right so far?
Right.
You bet he's right. You heard the prosecutor. He knows what he's talking about.
Next, the boy claims that the knife must have slipped out of a hole in his coat pocket and that he never saw it again. Now there's a story. You know what actually happened. He took the knife home and a couple hours later stabbed his father with it and even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Everyone connected with this case identified this knife. Now, are you trying to make us believe that maybe someone took the knife off the ground and went to the boy's house and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No, I'm saying that it's possible that the boy lost the knife and that someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Take a look at this knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life, and neither had the storekeeper who sold it to him. Aren't you trying to make us believe a pretty incredible coincidence?
I am not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible. What are you trying to do here?
Yeah, just who do you think you are?
Look at it, it's the same knife.
Quiet! Let's be quiet.
Where did you get it?
I got it at a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. It cost $2.
Now listen here. You pulled a real smart trick, but you still proved absolutely zero. There could be 10 knives like this. So what?
Yeah, there could be.
Boy lied. And you know it.
He may have lied. Do you think he lied?
It's a stupid question. Sure, he lied.
Do you?
Of course he did. You don't have to ask me that. He lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Now, wait a minute. What are you, the guy's lawyer? Look, there are still 11 of us and 1 of you. You're alone. If you want to be stubborn and hang this trial, he'll be tried again and found guilty, sure as he's born.
Exactly.
You're probably right.
So, what are you going to do about it? We could be here all night.
It's only one night. A man might die.
Well, whose fault is that?
I mean, maybe if we went over it again? What I mean is,
Did anyone force him to kill his father? How do you like it? Like someone forced him?
no one forced anyone but Lisa and I.
Look, everyone. We can spitball all night here.
Just a minute. Some of us have got better things to do than sit around in a jury room.
I can't understand a word in here. Why do we all have to talk at once?
Thank you. Sit down.
But what do you say? You're the one holding up the show.
Got a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want 11 of you to vote by a secret ballot. I'll abstain. There are still 11 votes for guilty. I won't stand alone. We'll take a guilty verdict right now.
Okay, let's do it.
Does anyone not agree with this proposition?
No.
Perfect. Pass this along.
And
Is that everyone's? All right. Guilty? 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 Guilty. Not guilty. Guilty.
How do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have a right to know.
I know who it was. You come in here and you felt guilty, and then this like little preacher over here starts to tear your heart out about some slum kids. So you change your vote. Why isn't that the most
Now
sickening-
hold it.
Hold it! We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden we're paying attention to fairy tales.
That's just Mina.
I want to ask you, what made you change your vote?
She didn't change her vote. I did. And I'm sure you'd like to know why.
No, we would have liked to know why.
Of course you wouldn't say that. The woman wants to talk.
Thank you. It takes a great deal of courage to come with your own opinion when people don't agree. And I want to hear more of what she has to say. The vote is set to do.
That's fine. The speech is over. Let's move on.
Look, I'm sorry, I was a little excited. I didn't mean to get nasty. Nothing personal.
Look, suppose you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
Everyone's a lawyer. Suppose you explain what your reasonable doubts are?
I said mine. Guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Alright. How long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
What has that got to do with anything?
How long? Guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
What do you think?
About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe?
I'd say it's a fair guess. Anyone else?
About 10 seconds.
All right, say 10 seconds. What are you getting at here?
This. An L train passes a given point in 10 seconds. That given
Given point
point
is the window of the room in which the killing took place. You can almost reach out of that window and touch the L, right? Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Who here has ever lived right next to the L tracks? I have. When your window is open and the train goes by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, so you can't hear yourself think. Will you get to the point?
The old man heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," and 1 second later he heard the body fall. 1 second, that's the testimony, right?
Right.
The woman across the street looked through the windows of the last 2 cars of the L and saw the body fall. The last 2 cars.
What are you giving us here?
An L train passes a given point in 10 seconds. Or
2 seconds per car. That L had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, maybe more, before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L was roaring past his nose. It's just not possible he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Of course he could have heard it.
could he?
I don't think he could have. I mean, without noise, that'd be almost impossible.
What are you people talking about? Are you calling this old man a liar?
Well, it stands to reason.
You're crazy. What is he? Why would he lie? What is he doing?
Attention, maybe?
You keep coming up with these bright sayings. You know, you should really sell one to a newspaper. You'll make $2.
Why must the old man have lied? You have a right to be heard.
This is an insignificant man who's been nothing all his life. Maybe he just wanted to be seen for once.
So you're trying to tell us he lied about a thing like this just so that you could feel important?
Maybe not lied, but maybe he made himself believe he heard the words and saw the boy's face.
That's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How could you make up a thing like that?
Speak from experience.
All right. Is there anything else?
Would anyone like a cough drop?
I'll take him.
Look at all of them, please.
Alright, now there's something else I'd like to point out. I think we've proven that the old man couldn't have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." But, supposing he really did hear this. This phrase, how many times each of you have used? Probably hundreds. If you do that once more, I'm gonna murder you. Or, come on, Rocky, kill him. We say it every day. This doesn't mean we're actually going to kill someone.
Wait a minute, the phrase was, I am going to kill you. And the kid screamed it out at the top of his lungs. Don't try and tell me that he didn't mean it. Anybody who says something like that and says it the way that he did, they mean it.
And how they mean it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you really think the boy would shout out a thing like that so the whole neighborhood would hear him? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
All right.
Right? He's a common, ignorant Slav. He don't even speak good English.
It doesn't.
What?
He doesn't speak good English.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
What?
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
All right. Coach, it's 9-3.
Now, just a minute. What are you basing it on? Stories this lady made up? She ought to write for American Detective Monthly. She'd make a fortune. Listen, the kid had a lawyer, right? Why couldn't the lawyer come up with all these points?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
Oh, brother, you're coming up with all these stories, and now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get out of bed, walk to the door, and see the kid beat it downstairs 15 seconds after the killing. He only said he did to be important.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked, what's the difference? He got there.
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
He said he went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where was his bedroom again?
Somewhere down the hall. I thought she remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No. Miss Foreman, I'd like to take a look at the diagram of the apartment, please.
Why don't we just run the whole trial over again so that we can get everything straight?
Miss Foreman,
I heard you. All right. What's this for? How come you're the only one in the room who wants to see these exhibits all the time?
I want to see this one too.
And I want to stop wasting time.
If we're going to start wading through all that of where the body was found.
we're not. We're going to find out how a man who has had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and who walks with a pair of canes can get to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20.
He said 15.
He said 15. He was very positive about that.
He's an old man. Half the time he was confused.
Man.
Do me a favor, wake me up when this is over.
Okay, here is the diagram of the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment is directly beneath it and exactly the same. Here's the bedroom, the L tracks, the living room, kitchen, bathroom, hallway, stairs, everything. The old man was in bed in this room. He says he got up, went out into the hall, down the hall to the front door, opened it, and looked out just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
You're right.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall. His bed was in this room. It's about 12 feet.
From the bed to the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 43 feet 6 inches. The old man would have had to get up out of bed, get his canes, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and open the front door, all in 15 seconds. Do you think this is possible?
You know, it is possible.
Somebody hand me a chair.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna try this thing. I want to see how long it took him. I'm gonna pace off 12 feet, the length of the bedroom.
Look, this is insane. I mean, what makes you think you can recreate something like this?
Do you mind if I try it? 'Cause according to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. I'm sure we can spare that. Okay, how far would you say the door is to the bed?
I'd say it's about
20 feet? 20 feet is close enough. Okay, from there and back is 40 feet. It's shorter than the length of the hall. Would you say that?
Yeah, a few feet more or less, but you're right.
Who has got a watch with a second hand?
I have.
Okay, when you want me to start, stomp your foot. Stop
Alright.
your body falling. Time me from there.
Got it.
Okay? Let's say he keeps his canes right by his bedside, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm ready.
Speed it up. You walk twice as fast as that.
I think I should walk faster. I will. Okay, what's the time?
15, 20, 30, 31 seconds exactly. The old man lied.
It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to the door, heard someone racing down the stairs, and assumed it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Assumed. Now listen to me, you people. I've seen all sorts of dishonesty in my day, but this little display takes the cake. Tell them, will you?
Evidence.
You walk in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about some injustice, and you got some soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not, and I'm getting real sick of it. What's the matter with you people? You are letting him slip through our fingers here.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I would.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't even.
What must it feel like to want to pull the switch?
Shut up.
You're horrible.
Shut up.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the fact.
I said shut up!
Oh my God.
I swear to God, I'll kill him.
Sit down.
But you don't really mean that you're gonna kill me, though, do you?
What are you looking at?
I don't see why we have to act childish here.
We're still nowhere. Who's got an idea? I want an open ballot. Let's call out our votes. I want to see who is where.
All right. Fine. Does anyone not agree with this? Number 2,
Not guilty.
3,
Guilty.
4,
Guilty.
5,
Not guilty.
6,
Not guilty.
7,
Guilty.
8,
Not guilty.
9,
Not guilty.
10,
Guilty.
11,
Not guilty.
12.
Guilty.
6 to 6.
I'll tell you this. The crime is being committed right here in this room.
The vote is 6 to 6.
I'm ready to walk into court and declare this hung jury. There is no point in this going on any longer.
I'd go for that too. Let's take this to the judge and let the kid take his chances with 12 other guys.
You mean you still don't think there's room for reasonable doubt?
No.
Maybe you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean I don't understand? How do you like this lady? She comes in here running for her life, and before she can even take a deep breath, she's telling us how to run the show. The arrogance of her.
Now wait a second. Nobody around here is asking where you came from.
I was born right here.
Or where your father came from. Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they learned something we don't know. We're not so perfect. It's not all right.
Okay. I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I want.
All right. We're getting nowhere. Does anyone have anything constructive to say?
I do. This whole business about the stab wound, the downward angle of it, it doesn't make sense at all. It's an awkward angle to stab downward at someone who's taller than you.
Don't tell me we're going to start this again. We went over it and over it in court. Look, I'm not going to be satisfied until I show you, so I'm going to do a little demonstration. You, get up.
Son's 5'6", dad 6'2". How are you supposed to stab downward at someone taller than you? Stab me. You can do that. 6 inches.
Is this about 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
Okay, everyone pay attention. Because I do not want to have to do this again, right?
What's the matter with you?
That's not funny.
Nobody's hurt, are they?
No. Nobody's hurt.
It's just a joke. Well, that's your angle. Down and in. That's how I'd stab a taller man in the chest, and that's how it was done. Look at me and tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in. I guess there's no argument.
Have you ever stabbed a man?
Of course not.
Have you?
Alright, let's not be silly.
Have you?
No,
Where did you get all of your information about how it's done?
it's just common sense.
Have you ever seen a man get stabbed?
No.
Alright.
Look at this.
The boy was an experienced knife fighter, right? He was even sent to a reform school for knifing someone. Now, isn't that so?
That's right.
Look at this. Doesn't this seem like a little bit of an awkward way to handle a knife?
What are you asking me for?
Wait a minute. What's the matter with me? Give me that.
Have you seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies.
In my backyard. On my stoop. In the vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny, I didn't think of it before. I guess you try to forget those things. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife would never have stabbed downward. You don't handle a switch knife that way. You use it underhanded.
Then he couldn't have made the kind of wound which killed his father, could he?
Alright.
No, he couldn't have. Not if he ever had any experience with switch knives.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, me neither. You're giving us a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
What about you?
Look, I'm getting a bit fed up with this. We're going nowhere fast. I'm changing my vote to not guilty.
You're what?
You've heard me. I've had enough.
What do you mean you've had enough? That's not an answer.
I don't think he's guilty.
I want another vote on.
Alright. Now the vote has been called. And the best way is with show of hands, right?
Sure.
Does anyone not agree with this? All those in favor of guilty, raise your hands. 3. All those in favor of not guilty, raise your hands. The vote is 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you believe this kid is innocent? I mean, look, you know how these people lie. I don't need to tell you this. Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. And let me tell you, they don't need a real big reason to kill someone either. What's going on here? I'm trying to speak my piece. Look, they are no good. Take it from me, this kid on trial? I mean, what do you not know about them? Listen to me, I'm trying to say something here.
All right, I've had enough. Be quiet. All right, everyone, have a seat, please.
Thank you.
I still believe the boy is guilty. I'll tell you why. The most evidence to me was given by the woman across the street who claimed to have actually seen the murder take place.
All right, let's go over her testimony. What exactly did she say?
She said that she went to bed around 11. Her bed's right next to the open window, and she could see right out of it into the window across the street while lying down. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to sleep. Finally, she turns towards the window, and as she looks out, she sees the boy stab his father. As far as I can see, this is pretty unshakable testimony.
That's what I mean. It's the whole case.
Frankly, I don't see how you can vote for acquittal. What do you think?
Well, maybe there's just so much evidence to say. What do you mean, maybe? He's absolutely right. You can throw out all other evidence.
That was my feeling.
What time is it?
10 minutes of 6.
Thank you. You don't suppose they'll let us home early and finish this in the morning? I have a kid back home with pneumonia. We've been here way too long.
Not a chance.
Pardon me. Can't you see the clock without your glasses?
No, I can't. Why?
Oh, I don't know. This may be a dumb thought, but what do you do when you wake up at night and want to know what time it is?
I get up, I grab my glasses and look at the clock.
So you don't wear your glasses to bed.
Wear my glasses to bed? No one wears glasses to bed.
What's all this for? Well, do you remember that the woman who testifies she saw the killing wears glasses?
Yeah, she did. They look pretty strong.
Right, so this woman wouldn't wear her glasses to bed, would she?
No.
Did she wear glasses? I really don't remember.
Sure she did.
Yes, they are bifocals.
Alright.
So does my grandmother. So what?
Your grandmother isn't a murder witness. Okay, look, she wasn't wearing them in bed, that's for sure. She testified that in the midst of her tossing and turning, she rolled over and looked casually out the window. The murder was taking place as she looked out, and the lights went out for a split second later. She could not have had time to put on her glasses. Now, maybe she honestly thought she saw the boy kill his father. But I just say she just saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted? She knows.
Does anyone here think there's still not a reasonable doubt?
I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else?
No, I'm convinced.
You're alone.
I don't care if I'm alone. I have a right.
You have a right.
So what else do you want?
Your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
We are not convinced. We can hear them again. We have time.
What's the matter with you? You're the one who made all the arguments. You're letting a guilty man walk free. Just stay with me.
I'm sorry, but there's reasonable doubt in my mind.
You're alone.
I don't care if I'm alone.
It was a weak case full of plot holes and almost no evidence.
I don't care if it was a weak case.
And if you're wrong?
I'm not.
Not without any reasonable doubt at all?
None.
You really think there's no reasonable doubt at all enough to send this boy to die?
You're on and on. You know, it takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
It really does. Fine. I can't confidently say that he's guilty. That doesn't mean I don't think he is. This case is closed.
Doing vowels?
Oh, wait, yeah.
Vowels. Yeah, there.
Alright, everybody can hang out at the table. We're gonna get rid of the picture. Great job. After this, if anyone else wants pictures on the set, Cass is backstage for notes. And we have a debut award for Juror 11.